again and welcome back to another session of Commerce class with me Suman Rathore. Friends, cooperative societies are usually formed by people with limited means. It is a group of people who voluntarily and democratically join together to provide service to their members. They work on the principles of self-help and mutual help, democratic management, open membership, one man, one vote, etc. And all these unique characteristics of cooperative societies give them a special status in the society. And as a body corporate, cooperative societies enjoys all the benefits which are available to them under the Act. So in our today's session, we are going to discuss the merits and limitations of cooperative society. So let's discuss the merits first. So first is easy formation. It is quite easy to form a cooperative society. Any 10 adults having common interest can join together and form a cooperative society. And very little time and money are required to get a cooperative society registered under the Act. Not only the formation, but the cost of management is also very low. Cooperative societies make contacts with the manufacturers or customers directly. As such, eliminates the profit of middlemen. As such, not only the formation but the operation can also be done with limited resources. Second is open membership. Any person having a common interest can become a member of cooperative society and can leave the society at his own will. No discrimination is made on the basis of caste, creed, religion, or political affiliation. The cost of share is also kept low, and even poor persons can also buy it. Next is limited liability. The liability of every member is limited to the amount contributed by him in the capital of the society. As such, personal property of members cannot be used to settle claims. The risk faced by every member is limited and already known to him. Next is continuity and stability. After registration, a cooperative society becomes a separate legal entity under the Cooperative Societies Act 1912 and gain perpetual succession also. As such, the death, lunacy or insolvency of a member doesn't affect its existence. Therefore, it enjoys continuity of operations. Next is democratic management. Management of a cooperative society is fully democratic. Every member has an equal vote or voice irrespective of his capital contribution. The principle of one man, one vote is strictly followed. As the members of a cooperative society are drawn from a particular area or class, so they have better mutual understanding among them, which benefits its operation and functioning also. Next is removing middlemen. Most of the cooperative societies have direct contract with the manufacturers and the customers. These societies directly buy goods from the manufacturers and sell them to the customers. So in this way, the middlemen, wholesalers and retailers can be eliminated from the channel of distribution. The goods can be provided by the society to its members at very reasonable and low price. Next is support from government. The government provides several concessions to cooperative societies. Cooperative societies enjoy special privileges and exemptions like lower rate of interest on loan or repayment of loan in easy installments or exemption from stamp duty or registration fee, etc. In spite of all these merits, they suffer from certain limitations also. Like, first is limited capital. A cooperative society is formed usually by people with limited means. One man, one vote and low rate of dividend also discourages members to invest large amounts in the society. Therefore, a cooperative society often faces shortage of funds and cannot mobilize adequate capital for large-scale operations. Next is inefficient management. In cooperative societies, members do not have specialized knowledge or experience of management and administration, which affects the way it runs. Lack of funds doesn't allow them to hire professionals or expert managers at high salaries. Next is rift among members. The success of cooperative societies depends directly on the loyalty and cooperation of members. Quite often, disputes arise among the managing committee and the members. And when the individual interest dominates the common interest, the whole purpose of establishing a cooperative society is defeated. And there is often lack of harmony and amity among the members. Next is excessive government control. It is must for a cooperative society to follow the rules and regulations mentioned in the Cooperative Societies Act 1912 regarding day-to-day working, preparation, audit and inspection of books of accounts, etc. The interference of government reduces the flexibility of operations on the part of management and kills their initiative. Next is lack of secrecy. There is no secrecy in this form of business organization because all the affairs of the society are openly discussed in the meetings of the society, and every member can freely inspect the books of accounts as per the Cooperative Societies Act 1912. Therefore, it becomes difficult to keep the secrets of the business. Next is non-transferability of interest. The shares of a cooperative society are not transferable. A member who wants to quit the society has to submit his share to the society in order to get his money back. That's all for today. Thanks for staying in tune and don't forget to like and subscribe my channel. Thank you and goodbye for now.